Hey, this is Jim. Welcome back to Silent Sales Machine Radio. I've got a great guest with us today. It is someone who's become a good friend of the community. He's been around a while, a married guy who lives in England. You recognize it from the accent. So if you get tired of hearing just my American accent, hey, you're going to have something very different today. We got a British accent coming at you. At least that's what we call it. Hope he doesn't mind that. But Neil and Tracy, they live, like I said, in England, and the city is Crawley. And he'll tell us a little bit more about that. But he's got 4 kids, 4 grandkids. And here's something I love about these guys, a bunch of grandkids, more than 4. But he's fostered 34 kids over the years, he and his wife. Just incredible. They're proven Amazon course students. They've been through our coaching program. He was actually here in the United States. You'll be able to see on his T-shirt. He wore the shirt today, and proudly. And he was at our last event here just a few months ago in the U.S. Had the pleasure of hanging out with him. Just a dear friend, because he just wears his unquenchable spirit with him everywhere. It just shines through. Always smiling, always encouraging, always with something positive to say. And his business is booming. I'm looking here. I'm checking my notes. It said you guys just had a record-setting month, 42,000 US, and that's the month. And we're in the middle of what could be even a bigger month right now. So your business is going well. But hey, Neil, welcome to Silent Sales Machine Radio. So glad you've joined us today, man.
Thank you very much, Jim. It's a pleasure to be here. I just feel it's part of the family. Although we may be separated by a big bit of water, it's lovely to be here connecting with you and all the other folks all around the world.
Oh, it's just beautiful. And I know I didn't do full service to your story, so I'd like you to fill in from your perspective a little bit. I hit some of the highlights, left out a whole bunch. What would you like to tell folks? And, maybe what lessons do you think you might have to share today from your experience over the years? Have you been doing this a while? I mean, you've got a track record of some wins and some losses here. So, tell us a little bit more about you and what are you going to share with us today? What areas are you interested in diving into?
So try and keep it fairly brief, otherwise we could be here for several hours. I've been around a while. I've always had a desire, really since the early days when I sort of found out about this internet thingy and the amazing things you could do with it and the connecting and the opportunities. I just really had a desire and a sense that there was an opportunity there to run a business. And that's been my heart. I've been married for 32 years to Tracy. My daughter has just turned 31. I know I shouldn't say that live on air, but she won't mind. So she came fairly soon after we were married, and we sort of got stuck into family life. And right from the early set out, my desire was to be a stay-at-home dad, or to certainly be very involved in my children. A lot of my peers were off getting sort of high-flying jobs, sort of taking them all around the world, and it all seemed a bit glamorous, but that's not what I wanted. I wanted to be at home with the children. And so I tried various jobs that would allow me to do that. And when the internet came along, I sort of looked at that and I saw there was opportunity there. And I thought, there's got to be a way to do this. There's got to be a way to earn money from this. Other people seem to be doing it, and I tried all sorts of things. Did affiliate marketing, Google AdWords. I started out on eBay and I did that for quite a while, all sorts of things, but nothing really sort of clicked or made sense, and I kept plugging away. So it really has been a bit of a long, slow, plodding journey of mine to get where I am today. It's certainly not an overnight success, as my wife will tell you. She's suffered many years of my harebrained schemes and ideas that, this is the next big thing, this is the one that's going to work, it's going to be it. But she hung in there with me, and the family hung in there with me, humouring me and blessing me. But so it's been a long journey, but actually it's the way it is. And I think it's great to hear stories of people that have been doing this sort of 3 months and they're turning over 6-7 figures. That's great, but for me that's not the reality, and I think for a lot of us it's not the reality. We just plug away, and I think when you find something that works, you stick at it. And I think one of the biggest lessons I've learnt, not only through business but in life generally, is that if you believe in something and you're passionate about something, you just got to stick at it and keep going. And as long as you keep making progress, you will get there one day. I was just thinking back that one of our church elders, when I was newly married, a guy that I really looked up to and admired, he had a favourite saying when people were saying, "Oh, as a church, we should be doing this, or we should be going out and doing that, or we should be, doing all sorts of things." He said, "We'll just keep moving gently forward." And that's really how I took that and thought, yeah, that's good. I've applied that to my life. As long as each day we're making progress, as long as you're working towards something, as long as you've got your goals and your ideas fixed, you know where you're going, you will get there.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Yeah, I'll take a consistent, steady, low-key effort over that flash in the pan overnight success any day.
Yeah. Well, hopefully something that's long-term and stable.
Yeah, exactly. And the relationships you've built along the way. And I won't tell the full story here, but it was one of my favorite stories that kind of illustrates the point that you're making. Did you happen to hear my presentation at CES, the shirt you're wearing, right? Would you remember the part where I talked about the runner from Australia? And he was this guy in his 60s who won the 500-mile distance run in Australia simply because he was the slowest runner in the field. A bunch of guys in their late 20s, early 30s were his competitors, and this guy actually took his dentures out when he ran because they clatter around in his mouth, right? But his goal was, hey, I'm going to run all 500 miles without stopping at a very slow speed. It was a real life tortoise and the hare. And he won. He actually set a record for the event that stood for a very long time until others adopted his style. He beat everyone in the field by, I think, 10, 12 hours. It's a true story. But that's slow and steady. I'm going to improve on what I know. I'm going to test. And if I fail, it's okay, because I'm going to test again after that. And I'm going to keep moving forward. Those are some of the most incredible success stories in our community, in my opinion. I mean, I love to see the stories of people take off quickly as well, but really building it, anything worth having, there's various versions of this quote too. Anything worth having, it's going to take some time to build. It's an uphill climb to get anything worth having in this life. That goes for relationships and everything else. It's going to require some work. So when I see a guy like you that's been doing it, since back in the eBay days, and you've failed far more than you've succeeded, but those successes have slowly accumulated. You've got some momentum now. And it's been a joy being on this journey with you. Our team has supported you along the way, and you're one of our coaching students too, right? So maybe you could tell us, how's that gone? What's that experience been like for you? How has it helped your business?
It's hopefully what's going to help me take it to another level. I've been coaching with Jeff for about a year now. He's been very patient with me. I've not always been able to keep up and do everything, I think, as fast as we would like to have done. But I think what he's enabling and helping me to do is to really get my business established on some secure footing. I think one of the things, as my business has sort of come together over the years, it's been a bit of a bolt on, this, that, and the other. And, I just sort of happened to be here. And I think when we were talking through some of where I'm at and some of the things I do, it sort of became apparent that I need to put in some more secure foundations, just a bit of stabilising, get some of the business principles grounded in there a bit. And so I've been working with Jeff to do that, and that's what we're going to be looking at in the new year as we sort of look at where I'm going, where we're going to take this.
So in your business model, I know you just had a record-setting month, and you were kind enough to share some numbers with us, but what's working well for you right now? Where's the bulk of your success?
Right I think one of the biggest areas is, and it seems to be a hot thing at the moment, is the replenishable bundles. I know Lisa and Jenny have just done a course on that, and there's a lot of talk about it. And I didn't realise they were called replenishable bundles before. I've been doing them for a few years now, and suddenly I found out what they're called. But yeah, those things that you can just keep going buying and just keep selling and keep sending them in. They've just been a good mainstay.
Beautiful. And for students,
wholesale area that I work with, which this year I've managed to, I'm working with a warehouse to actually handle all that now. So it just gets sent straight.
Cool. So they're setting up the bundles for you, and that's great. I love it.
Yes. I said the wholesale things, and the rest of the stuff I'm doing in-house here. I've got a few people working with me now. So building my team gradually.
Beautiful.
Which I think has helped me to grow the business this year quite substantially.
I love it. And for students of the Proven Amazon course, that is content that's coming your way. We're wrapping up as we record this, we're wrapping up our Q4 training, and we had a lot of that information in our Q4 training group. But what we're doing is we're grabbing all that content, and we had so far over 100. I think probably going to end up with 150 incredible success stories just from those couple short months, Neil. But we're going to take all that content and put it into the Proven Amazon course. I'm actually wearing a shirt too. Talking about Proven Amazon course. Did you see my shirt? I don't know. Is that backwards?
And I love it.
Pac-Man, right? Proven Amazon course. Hey, yeah. I grew up playing Pac-Man, but we're always working on that course, always improving it. The Proven Amazon course is
amazing resource, really. I mean, what Ryan and Jenny have done with the Q4 information and the whole team there that have been there, the content has just been incredible, and I know that's really helped people get their businesses established. And it's these principles that I've been able to put into the business in the last 3 or 4 years, really, which has caused it to grow. And there's a reason, as you say, that it's called Proven, because it is proven principles, and it's things that actually work. For many years I've been trying all the latest trends and courses that came out, and this is the one that's going to make it, this is the one that's going to do it. But actually they were a lot more good in themselves, but they didn't really work for me. And it's really when I started getting serious with the Proven Amazon course and working on Amazon that it's gradually made sense, and I was able to build on that. And that's I think the beauty of PAC, is it's something you can just build on and grow, and it works.
Yeah, it really is a beautiful thing that's been established there. And it stopped being my ideas so long ago. You've dropped several names. And I would say at this point, if we had a list of everybody who's contributed creative content to the Proven Amazon course, it'd be a list of about 60 to 70 people. Because what happens is these great ideas float, and someone comes up with a new strategy, a new technique, and we test it, we prove it. As you said, Neil, that's why we call it the Proven Amazon course. And then we roll it into the course once it's ready. And the content we've just rolled in recently that will, again, the course continuously improves at no additional cost to our students. It's coming in very soon. And that's been a lot of what you've been doing, creating these replenishable bundles, these stuff that you just go get more when you run out and create these creative bundles. It's a beautiful, beautiful model. And yeah, that is a great foundation to build on, but there's so many other opportunities as well. Talk to me a little bit about having a family, a busy household. I mean, you guys have fostered 34 kids. Is that the right number? 34 over the years?
34 at the moment.
That's incredible. You've been a stay-home dad for that long, and you hear all this. I'm curious, and I didn't prep you for this question, and I kind of know how I would answer this question, but you hear a lot about life-work balance and how do you keep it all in balance? And, what are some pointers for those who are trying to say, hey, I want to be in that position too. But I'm seeing you're sitting in your office. Like, obviously work is home, is life, is family. Like, it's all right there. How do you manage that? What's your plan? What's your approach?
It's difficult to separate it sometimes, and sometimes that can cause a bit of conflict or frustration when you're trying to get on something and the grandchildren turn up. But actually, I think you've got to get your priorities and your values. And for me, my priority is my family and other things, and it's the business that enables me to be around for those things that are important for me. So sometimes I have to say, okay, well, let's just leave that. Everything will still be there when I come back later in the evening. Let's go and spend some time. But yeah, it is a juggling act. I think really throughout our marriage from early days, it really has been a juggling act of all the things that we've been involved in with people and church and work and family. It's forever sort of spinning plates, and sometimes it can be a bit frantic, but actually that's the life we've chosen. We love doing everything that we're involved in, and all those things are important to us. And I think you've just got to get your priorities fixed and be flexible and versatile. There's no point getting stressed out when things don't work out. And I'll say if something doesn't get done today, it will still be sitting there for me tomorrow. So, it's very seldom so urgent that, it can't wait. So it's just getting their priorities and being flexible. And I love being available. Some people like to perhaps shut themselves off for a certain time and say, that's work time. that will stay sacred. I just like to be flexible and be available and work around it. I think one of the reasons I went into the fostering is something my wife had always wanted to do, but one of the reasons I looked at it and thought, well, I think this could work for me, was I was trying to get this business up and running. I'd been working on eBay for a while, and it was ticking over, but I wanted to be at home and work on my business. But obviously doing a job outside the home, limited to time, as many people know, that frustration. And so I looked at the opportunity of fostering. I thought, well, it's something that we are, as a family, passionate about. And actually it could work. My wife, who's trained as a nurse, she was doing nursing at the time. So I actually initially stayed home as the full-time carer with the children. And while I was at home, whether they were at school or whatever, I had opportunities to work on my business around that. And it seemed to work well. And then gradually over the last few years, as the business has picked up, my wife's sort of taken over more of the role of the day-to-day work with the fostering and doing the school runs and the children and meetings and things. And I support her and work alongside as she needs. So we've sort of swapped roles over the last few years, and it's worked for us.
That's beautiful. Yeah, I mean, every family runs differently. Sometimes people say, how do you do that? How do you work from home? How do you get everything? And I find myself wondering how people with traditional 9-to-5 jobs, I have no idea how they do it. I have no idea. I mean, kids don't get sick around your 9-to-5 work schedule, right? I mean, your kid doesn't come up with a brilliant drawing that they want to show you around a 9-to-5 work schedule. And with very few exceptions, Neil, I'm sitting here and right now my office door is closed, but that maybe is 4 hours a week where my door's closed. Any other time, this used to be a little harder when the kids were little. Our youngest is 11 now. They come in anytime. If the door's open, they come in. If I'm on a call, like if this was just a business call and not necessarily a recorded podcast episode, my doors would be open. It doesn't matter who I'm talking to. If they've got something and I'm like, hey, hold on just a second. Yeah, what is it? They ask me their question and they go on with their day and I get back to my call. It all integrates. It all overlaps.
The grandchildren, I've got my office, it's a log cabin at the end of the garden. I'm down here with the fairies, as my wife says. But the grandchildren, especially in the summer, they come toddling down the garden. Hello, Grandpa, what have you got for us today? Got any sweets in there? And it's lovely. It's great to be able to do that. You can't get that in an office, can you? I tried office life once, but it didn't work out. I didn't like it. Never again.
Yeah, I just the idea of a family being under the same roof together as much as possible, nothing but good could come from that. There's even a book that my wife and I read. Man, I don't remember the author, but I'm sure you could look it up by title. Basically, the premise, the title was Home Court Advantage. That was the name of the book, Home Court Advantage. I'm pretty sure that was the title. But basically, the premise of the book was, hey, you know what? Just because your kid wants to be in soccer, piano, and 2 other sports and 3 other activities doesn't mean you got to sign them up for all those. Actually, they're better off in the long run if you don't sign them up for hardly any of it. And they're just home. And in our household, even if they're a little bored, that's fine, because boredom is a prerequisite of being, selfishness is a prerequisite of boredom. It's a saying we have in our house. If you're bored, that means you're being selfish. That means you need to find some way to serve somebody, have some fun with somebody, ask someone if they want to play a game. There's a bunch of us here. Figure it out. Your boredom is not my problem to solve. And no, we're not going to sign you up for 18 activities a week. We can't. We got 5 kids. You've got 34 come through your house. But the relationships that are developed as they figure out life under the same roof, and we spend more time at home than most people do, but man, is it paying dividends as we've seen our kids grow. And I would imagine, I don't know anything about your 4 grown biological children, but I would imagine that you still have a good relationship with them because you guys just spend a lot of time together.
We're a very close family, and it's paid benefits, and we are close. I had 2 children that are married and give us 7 grandchildren. They both live in the same town, so we see them most days. They're here, one of them or other, with the grandchildren. We look after grandchildren quite a lot. They're always here. Close friend, my daughter does a couple of hours work for me. My middle son, who now lives in London, he worked for me over the summer after he finished uni. So they've all been involved as the business has grown. They've got stuck in and done bits. And,
that's beautiful.
I love it. It's very important. And we've always said at the fostering part of our life, we've always said that was a family business because we couldn't have done it without the support of our children and our family. It's been so important for us. Again, that's just
sounds like you've raised some incredible kids. You're kind of helping me set some parenting goals here for myself. Just the kids still being involved, still being around, being a part of what you've built over the years as a family, having achieved, there's a purpose-driven family is what I'm hearing here. Like you guys have had a mission that you've accomplished together, a purpose, and a lot of families lack that. So, I just want to speak to the dads or the parents out there right now that listen to this and like, man, we are so far from that model. We're not saying that Neil has the perfect family model or that I have the perfect family model, that there isn't even is such a thing as a perfect family model, right? There's a lot of ways to mess up a family. There's a lot of ways to do it right. But what we are saying is, man, it's a beautiful thing. This home-based business, this internet-based business opportunity and what it's allowed. I know for my family, I'm just grateful every day, man. I get up grateful every single day. It's been that way for 16 years for me, full-time. Grateful every day. And I also know, Neil, that 80% of the people listening to this, if they have a career, they don't like the job they've got. That's just the statistics. Yeah. And I love what I get to do. I don't know about you. Do you like what you get to do?
I do. I sometimes sit here in the office and just think, wow, what am I doing here? I can do what I want when I want, in a sense, and it's earning an income. Still a long way to go. I've not made it. I don't feel I've made it yet, and I could sit back and think, hey, that's it. A long way to go still, but there's so much potential, so much opportunity, and I just feel really privileged to be here and be able to do this.
And the relationships, the quality of the people that we're surrounded with too. You can't discount that. And a lot of people, they're in a job where they don't love their coworkers. Man, we've got a great community. Just, maybe fill me in a little bit your perspective. I mean, you had to travel across the big ocean to get over here and hang out with us here just a few months ago at our live event.
First time I've been over to the States.
Oh, was it? I'd forgotten that. That was your first trip to the United States. All right. So how'd we do? You came to Indianapolis, what was it like?
Your hometown, and I loved it. It was great. I mean, the conference itself was wonderful. The content and the speakers all did really well. There was some great information there, but and I think, as most people would say, the real value of it is in the relationships. I'd been buzzing around the community for a number of years, so I knew a lot of names. I'd sort of had online chats with some people, but to actually meet them in person, see them face to face. To give our dear friend Lisa a hug and finally meet her. It was wonderful, and it really, made me feel like I was part of the family, even though that's the first time I'd met them. And they're such a lovely, giving community, and we've kept in touch with many of them. We're meeting up, we're talking, we're doing some things together with some of them, which is very exciting. I love it. It's very
beautiful. It occurs to me, I can't remember how many different countries were represented. Our last big event, we had about 700 of us in Indianapolis. This was back late fall 2018. Excuse me. And multiple, like a couple dozen countries represented. I don't remember how many exactly, but just the incredible people that are attracted to this community. You mentioned Lisa, for example. What a great story. For those of you who aren't in our Facebook group, we'll stick a link in the show notes today. Go to silentjim.com/podcast. Look at the show notes, our free Facebook group. Lisa, as I'm recording this, for the past, 6-8 months, she goes live every Tuesday evening here, which would be probably middle of the night for you, Neil.
Try and stay up for it when I can. I missed it last week. But,
you stay up. Some people from around the world stay up and hang out with us when she goes live. And, her story, we did a podcast episode with her. I don't remember the episode number. We'll hopefully stick that in the show notes or somebody can. But she was homebound. Her health situation didn't allow her to do much, but she's built an internet business. And she's kind of become the community mom, like she's there every Tuesday answering questions, welcoming in the new folks, giving away a bunch of cool prizes, answering, everything from beginner newbie questions we've heard 1,000 times to, fairly complex things, because she's been running a business a while. She's on our leadership team. Just the quality of the people. And this is a global community. It really has become something special and powerful. It outgrew me a long time ago. It's taken on a life of its own. There's a culture here. And it's, guys like you are just pillars, just showing up, plodding away. That's your word, not mine. I love that word. Hey, you know what? Sometimes the mud is thick and you just take that next step anyway, and you figure it out as you go. But people like that, and you get a few thousand of them together, you build something pretty special. And it's an honor having you in the community, Neil. What encouragement might you have for people who are wondering, is all this real? Is this for me? What's the next step for me?
I try and encourage and help people whenever I can, because I am just an ordinary guy. I really am nothing special. I've never really made anything big in my life, in a sense. I've enjoyed what I'm doing, but I'm just an ordinary guy who is finally getting somewhere with this. And I think for people that are starting out and looking at it, thinking, is there opportunity there? Is this real? Is it something that I can actually earn money from? The answer is yes, but you've got to be committed. You've got to be passionate. You've got to be dedicated. And I think from my perspective, the way to do it is a little step each time. If you are continually, each day you're moving forward in your business, you're doing something to grow your business, you're doing something to build your business, then you will grow and it will succeed. Whether it takes 3 months, whether it takes 3 years, or longer, you will get there if you keep moving forward. It's the day you stop and give up that you failed. And I think if you don't want to fail, then you keep going. Sometimes you have to put your head down, grit your teeth, and plod through that mud. And other times you suddenly stop, you take a look, and you're on top of a mountain, and you're looking around, and it's amazing. But then you see another mountain over there that you've got to climb as well. So we're never satisfied. We're never going to stop. But there is opportunity there. And I think what we have in the community, and what we have in the Proven Amazon course is a proven, tried and tested model that does work if you apply it, if you go through the steps. And I think, don't try running before you walk. Don't try and be an overnight success. For some people that may happen, and that's great for them, congratulations. But for the majority of people, it's step by step, doing the right things in the right order, learning the business from the bottom, start listing a few things, start selling a few things, and build it up from there, and learning and asking questions, and just being willing to get involved in the community. There's always many people ahead of you, and there's always people that are behind you that are less experienced, even if you only just started. So help those behind you and be inspired by the people in front of you.
Oh, it's beautiful. And I love the point you just made. Part of this journey is helping the people behind you, and some people may make the mistake of thinking that that's just part of being a good person, and it is. But there's a very big self-serving component to that I'm only just now starting to recognize. It's the long-term play. But let me be specific with the point I'm making here, Neil. It used to, 15 years ago, it was a total distraction for me to have someone say, hey, I'm trying to figure this business out. You got a few minutes, you got any material for me? You got some advice? What would you recommend? Like, I'm busy building my business. I don't have time for this. That was my attitude. Let's go 16, 17 years ago. So I wrote it all down. I started giving that to people. It's kind of like, okay, here you go. Just, leave me alone. Here's what I know. And we still do some of that. I mean, I can't get on the phone 100 times a day. Even though there may be several people who want to talk to me. So I have to temper my time. But what I'm doing, if I feed into those who are behind me, even by giving them good resources, even by selling them a course that's worth 100 times what I charge for it, what I'm really doing is I'm creating future partnerships with people who are way smarter than me. They're sharper, more creative, more driven and energetic, with a different vantage point of the world. And those people make incredible partners. I mean, I'm living that literally right now. In Brett's early days, Brett Bartlett, in the early days of Brett, he was getting himself into some business ideas and concepts and bouncing some things off of me. And I was like, really? No, dude, that's not going to work. Here's why. 1, 2, 3, let me spend some time and talk you through that. Now he's a master genius at stuff that I'd never considered. And we've partnered together, and it's become a mutually beneficial thing. So I poured into his life early, and it kind of reminds me, Neil, of the whole parenting model, right? I mean, we pour into our kids when they're young, and they can't really do a whole lot for us. And then in the middle years, they do some favors for us, and we participate, and we're kind of partnered up. But then as life progresses, those younger ones are kind of the ones making it happen. And all of a sudden you're able to sit back a little bit and go, wow, okay, they're doing things I never thought of. That's the beauty of the journey, is you get to enjoy those stages. And because we started pouring into lives a decade plus ago, it's starting to pay off. So the point I'm trying to make is, hey, if you've made some things happen, take a little bit of time per week and jump into our Facebook group, build some relationships, help some people out. That pays huge dividends down the road, because some of those people are going to succeed and they're going to remember why they got where they are. And man, the relationships and partnerships are powerful when that starts to happen. So I'm glad you said that, Neil. And hopefully
encouragement or even just liking somebody's post actually makes a difference. I don't post an awful lot, but when I do, I look through all the people that have liked it and thought, oh, I wonder who all these people are that have actually taken the time to press like or to leave a positive comment. And it does make a difference. It builds me up.
Oh, it certainly does.
That's what I want to do for other people. I can just encourage them a little bit, give them a bit of a good feeling about what they've done, and help them along the way, then that helps everybody, and it builds a better community.
Yeah, encouragement is powerful. If you're ever wondering, should I like this or not? Yes, click like. I mean, come on. What's it going to hurt? So I love the success stories in our Facebook community. And yeah, pile on and congratulate each other. Spur each other forward. We are all in a battle. If we're building a business, we're in a battle. And when there's struggles, and there's days when we wonder if we made the right decision or not to get into this, if we wonder if we're on the right path or not. So the encouragement goes a very long way. That's a great point, Neil. Love it. I love it. Well, I think we're going to wrap this one up, buddy. Do we leave anything out that you want to throw out there before we close the door on this episode?
I think we've covered quite a lot, which it's been lovely just chatting things through. I think, looking ahead, the future is amazing. There is so much potential. There'll always be the doomsayers and the negative people that are saying, oh no, it's all going to go pear-shaped, it's all going to crash, Amazon's going to disappear and the whole world's going to come crumbling down. Well, let them worry about that. In the meantime, I'm just going to keep plodding along in my own little way, keep doing the stuff, keep building my business, keep encouraging and helping other people along, and this time next year we'll all still be here. Hopefully we'll all still have smiles on our faces, doing even better with an even bigger team around us, 100,000 people in the community, thinking, wow, this is great.
Yeah, beautiful. An infectious attitude. I told you, listener, Neil's one of those infectious attitude guys, man. If you don't have guys like Neil in your life, you need a few. Appreciate you, brother.
That's been lovely to talk.
This has been a great time hanging out with you, Neil. I hope the listeners enjoyed it half as much as I did. And that means it was a great episode, because it's truly a delight to hang out with you. Tell your wife, Neil, thank you. Her name, Tracy. You have yet to meet her, right? But I'd love to meet her someday. But man, God bless you and your beautiful family and all the work you guys are doing in your business. And listeners, don't forget, you can jump over to silentgym.com/podcast. You can pick up, if you happen to be watching this on YouTube, there's a whole bunch of episodes of this podcast that aren't on YouTube. So we've got like 150 plus episodes and only a handful are on YouTube. So don't forget about that. Jump over there. You can listen to all our episodes. If you're listening to this, hey, did you know some of our episodes are on YouTube? You can go see Neil and I and our cool t-shirts today, right?
I guess the office around me.
and see what it looks like to have a big old home office for both of us, so you can see what it looks like. But it's been a pleasure hanging out with you today, listener. Thank you for giving us part of the most valuable asset you have. That's some of your time. We are honored by that. We appreciate it. And from Neil, I know I speak on his behalf and mine and the entire team. God bless you, business building warrior. We're in your corner. We're cheering for you. We're rooting for you. Let's do something special together. All right. Thanks for hanging out with us today.